Evening everyone, this is the day 20 challenge, and today obviously we're looking at our component, which is again like a cast component with again a line of symmetry through the centre where left and right are exactly the same. So we're building on the tools we used yesterday, just slightly more complex. There's low more radiuses and there's a few angled little components as well, and a counterball. So again, it's exactly the same techniques yesterday. We really use the same kind of solution to solve it as well. We'll just draw one side, mirror it across. Again, you can use copy or array if that's easier for you. And again, then put these two viewports in. So you want to put, like yesterday when I showed you, maybe you want to put all the detail really big and the final product really small. It's entirely up to you. I just went with, kind of a best approach with getting two one-to-one scales on the screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom into this side. I'm going to keep flicking between two screens, but again, if you've got a second screen, you can always put the drawer on one side and and work through it that way. So it's a bit like what I do. So I may start calling out a dimension and you think, oh, where's that dimension from? And it's probably because I've got it on like my other screen. So but I'll keep trying to flick back and forward. So into AutoCAD then. Okay, I've already started it in my template, and I'm going to start drawing my construction now. Now, like I said, I'm going to work today right to left rather than left to right. So first off, I'm going to put a line as my centre. Okay, and I'll convert these to centre lines later once I finish using them as a construction point. So put my offsets in, then I'm going to do 70 out and followed by a 50. So that's giving me then those two first initial points on the on the side. So that's giving me this point here 50, this point here 70. Everything else is sort of run further up, so I'm kind of going to probably do the offsets as I come to these top bits. So I'm just going to basically put this first bottom bit in first. So next one's going to be 15, which will give me my bottom profile. Okay, and I'm probably just going to do a really simple little rectangle and then just convert that to my drawing like so. So I'm going to flip back to my drawing now. I don't need to draw anything else in construction. So give me this first bit here. Now I need to work on this offset of 5. So I'm offsetting as I'm going up my drawing. Okay, like so. So now that's giving me this part here, but I don't actually know any lengths yet, so it's kind of pointless trying to put in these radiuses as such. So working up, okay, I need to find a centre point now for here, which is 75 for my baseline. So I'm back into offset again, 75. So I'm just using escape space to reload the command. Okay, let's give me that centre point now there. Before I come into circles, I'm just going to do 110, that'll give me the top part of my view. So that's now up here. So I've got centre circles, the top of my shape, which is now all the way up here. So I'm going to put my two circles. So I've got diameter 30, radius of 25. So circle tool, choosing that point, 25, same point again. Okay, D for diameter 30. That's put that bit in there as well. So radius of 25, so essentially diameter 50, and diameter 30 in there. Okay, so now I'm going to focus on this top bit now. So I've got 19 across, 30 across, and 50 across. So what I'm going to do is the lines are going to start to get a bit overlapping. So what I'm going to do is offset 19. Okay, offset 19, and this is coming from the center line again, so remember where all of your lines are, and I'm going to colour that one immediately a different colour. So I know it's the top reference, I'm just going to do it like a little cyan colour. I mean, I could do it for vision, but I want it all to come off when I turn the construction layer on and off, so I'm just using that vision colour. Same again with 30, so again same colour again. And then I've got my 50, which I think I've already got. So I think that's that line there. Yeah, it is. So because when you go to the left, it doesn't change. So that's 50 there. So colour that one just blue. So I know those are my internal ones, and then my bottom one I can kind of colour. I'll just do blue for a second because I'm working on the top. So I know that red line is referenced the bottom, which is a 70, and these lines as the 5, which is also referenced on the bottom. So I'm nice and clear, but I'm just clear in my mind what's going on. So there's a line that now comes out as the 50. So what I'm going to do is sort of draw that 50 line in first along the top, which will bring me to here. Okay, and now you probably notice I've got a 15 and a 6. So again, it's going to be offset 6, that line down, and then 15 as well. And again, I'm just going to colour these two. I'm going to use the same colour. I mean, you could do. I'll use yellow just to make it easy for you guys to view at home. So I'm working on blue and yellow lines only, not red. So now I'm at this point, okay, and it drops down 15 across, tangents into the circle, and then it drops down 6 across, and then tangents into circle within the R3. So all I'm going to do is just drop my line down. Okay, just I'm going to extend the line back to the middle again. I'm going to do the same up here as well. So it runs across the 30 line, drop down to the 6, and run it back to the centre point. So it's a bit of a white lines with blue and yellow, so the colour can get a bit kind of overview, but I'm going to keep flicking back. So all I'm going to do now is put a fillet in here. Okay, I'm going to click the circle and my line of R6. So fillet radius 6. So I'm going to choose this bottom blue, this line. I'm going to choose this, my circle. As you can see, it starts to snap. So it will remove that line now from my centre point to that fillet, which is what I want. Next, what I'm going to do is back into the fillet again, R to change it now to 3, and again I'm going to do exactly the same. So I'm going to choose this top line and the top of my circle, so this line here and the top. Now let's put that line in as well. But now if you reload in again, we can choose that section which puts in the R3 on the other side. So now when I turn my construction lines off, okay, I've got that kind of that profile in absolutely fine now. Everyone I want to put in, that's one I would just put in the holes. It's 8mm and it's either side of 19, so it's 4 either side. So offset 4, once. I'm just going to run those lines down. Like so. Now when I turn that one off, okay, that's now that feature in as well. So we've got that feature now ticked off. That feature's ticked off. Now I'm going to come back down, and now I need to think about working on this R6 into a set line. So set line then moving forward. Okay, we're going to run up, so it's going to be coming across from that 15 line. So I'm going to turn my construction lines back on. Okay, and as I now come down, I've got to put that R6 in. So I've got two options. If I run a line up, I don't know where it's going to join, so I can't use that fillet tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to then have a look at maybe putting in the R6. So I'm going to latch onto that construction, and if you can read the drawing, you know that it's 6 away from that sort of point. So kind of a case of, well, if I drop a line 6 down, I've got a centre point and I can put that R6 in. So line, okay, I'm going to drop it 6 down, because that'll be basically my centre point. Latch onto that point, put in R6. Okay, so that's giving me that sort of spiral. Change that to a construction line rather than a drawing. Okay, now all I have to do is run another line from the base, which is the 15 up to the tangent, which is going to be there. Then into trim, like so. Okay, so then I've got basically my component then wraps around and then locks down then to the 15 line, which is exactly what I want. So now I'm just going to turn off my construction lines, and then pretty much if we mirror the two, that's my component apart from this bottom section down here. So I've got to put my R8 in. So what we're going to do is semi-cheat a little bit here, draw a line from the bottom up to the top, and I'm basically just going to use the fillet tool. Radius in to load up the radius function 8, so they're both R8s, top and bottom, and I'm just going to choose once, and then again if I put M for multiple we'll have to keep reloading the command, but then now that's that section in as well. Okay, remembering that this all revolves around the centre lines, I'm going to change this from a construction to a centre. Okay, now I'm going to turn my construction lines off, and that's basically my component I've got in the top right of my screen. So now looking at that part, it's going to be a case of now offsetting a line. So if we choose a construction line to offset it again, so I'm just going to do offset maybe, I don't know, 100, kick it down the page, and then that's going to be my window to draw my other component. So I'm just going to essentially copy that one, okay, like so. So I basically moved it sort of near enough 200 from point to point. So from this point then, I'm going to turn off my construction lines now. I have nowhere near got that on the centre, so I'm just going to move it like so. So hopefully it should be, yeah, just on the centre. Now I'm going to mirror it, and again I just want to mirror, look at the components. I'm going to mirror it around the centre point of my circles and latch onto another quadrant like so. Erase no. Okay, so that's now both sides of my side done. Now what I want to do, okay, is I haven't put in a counterball. So I haven't put in the counterballs on that lower side. So what I'm going to do, okay, is come up to this section now, put my construction lines back on, and the counterball is based around this blue line here. So it's the 50 line, so it's 16, okay, and then a 10. So I'm going to offset 5 either side. Okay, it's dropping down 5 deep, so 5 coming down. Oh, that's going to be a line, isn't it? So let's do off that line like so, and then what I got to do is in 16 out, which obviously we know is 8, like so. So now when we come in and draw, we've got a first rectangle and our second rectangle. So I just done it as rectangles to make my life a bit easier, like so. So now what we have to do is copy that into the same component down there. So if we turn our construction line back on, it should match the same point, apart from the actual 15 lines isn't there. But what we can sort of do is copy, you just match it up to the actual lines. That's what I like doing, just using a match point like so once. Okay, now we need to get it onto the other side as well, so all we're going to do is just turn them back off, mirror. Because of that is rectangles, I've got to choose two points, and then point, keep the original. So there's our counterball in now. Sometimes it's easier just to do it after you've done a retrospect, but you guys might have done it in the first go, which is fine. Last thing to then look at is then just dimensioning it all up. So what I've got along the top then is I've got a 50 along the top, a 50 for the lower bottom. So I'm going to start off with using the linears. Okay, I'm going to kick this up probably, I don't know, 15 mil, because I think there's 3 underneath. So the same point again to this point, look at that, turn up, and then same point again to the center. So what you should really do is use the construction lines to just to pick up the actual points that you need, rather than trying to just roughly get it aligned. But I know sometimes the views can get quite complicated, so if you want to do it without, that's also perfectly fine. we've got 6, so we're running up here. And 15, like so. And I'm going to work on my heights running down from the center point. So we've got 100 coming up. I'm going to kick it about 10 off of that section there. So what I'm doing is just putting a reference point in the whole time. Like so. And then it's going to be the 50. And then once I've done this part, I can sort of remove the linear base. I haven't got to worry too much about that then. So let's use that as a reference. 5. Oh. Just drop 10 down. There we go. So now I can remove the construction lines, and all I've got to do now is run my radiuses. So radius 6. Radius 6, radius 3, radius 3, radius 22 or 25 even, down at 30. I mean, you could just put it down to a radius, doesn't have to be it's entirely up to your choice. R8. Again, 8 needs to come the other way, so you can maybe always remove these. They're like just snapping around to different parts. So both R8s now. I've got a linear 5 in the centre. So just put mid to mid, like so. Keep it nice and clean. You can, if you actually want to, you can move these. You could put it to the left-hand side if you wanted, and you can actually remove one of the arrows. You don't have to have it both. And it's just essentially using my leader points. So if I use my leader onto the surface, out to the side, I like to keep consistent 2.5 mil font size, but you can just put basically. So if you use percentage C, then that's a shortcut for diameter. So you're not going into the symbol tool. 10 0 whole. Whole. And percentage C, 16 C dash ball, which stands for Counterball, which is a type of bolt, times 5 deep, like so. Now the alignment looks a bit terrible, so what I'm going to do is just do a justification and choose it on the left hand, top left, like so. Close that, and what I can actually do is shrink how far away from the line it is. Sort of put it back a little bit so it's nice and neat there. Now I can just do the 8. So again, back into leader. Now the 8 is in a bit of a congested area, so I generally try and keep it within a zone that's not going to be in the way too much. Percentage C, 8. And a whole. Oh God, I can't spell today. And now it's going to be trying to fit that one in. So you might actually want to go, yeah, it isn't fitting very well. I'll drop it down one. And again, use the tools. You can drag it in. Okay, it fits there fine. That's why it is a bit congested, like dimension-wise. So that's why we kind of have a 2-part view. That's what I'm going to do then is just trim out everything. So kind of come into trim. So there's a trim, that's all open. Okay, this center section is also open, like so. So it's like it's a cast component, so both sides are sort of open. Then when we've got that, we'll now look at our drawing. So we've got open chamber here. We just got to put this hatch in. So I'm going to use the hatch tool, which is down here. Just going to use an ANSI 31. Okay, I'm going to come now and I'm basically going to put all the hatches in my component that I need, like so. and that's my hatch then created. Last thing to do, a bit like yesterday, come in, you might want to say, oh, I want 1.5 times the view. Oh, I'll run away, 1.5 times the view, like so. And then you might want to come in again, layout, either put in a new view, but remember that on the new view you can't change the, you can't pan or move or anything. It just has to be that size rectangle box, which to be fair it will fit today. It didn't fit yesterday. Like so. And then again, make sure you come in, you keep it nice and clean for the reader. So something like this, you can always match it up like so. And then what you can do, if you load up properties, you could then actually then put a justification of center. So then if you latch onto a center point, you can move it to the center. If you're not sure what scale it's in either, okay, if you click on this little arrow, you can then actually set on the scales, because it's 2:1 or 1:1. So that views will 1:1 scale. So, but it's a 1:1 scale of what that model is. So if you do that and it's 1:1, the best thing to actually do, okay, is rather than putting in a view like this, just drop that down out of the way, is do the actual viewport. So put in a secondary window, something like this. And then you can sort of pan, and then what you can actually do is set a proper scale. So that one there is an official 1:1 scale rather than like so. Okay, so that's a nice sort of piece. Output, plot, into the preview, and then you got a two-part view, left hand side and the right hand side, which is probably what I should have given you guys, but I just did it the other way around. So alright guys, that's day 20. Okay, tomorrow day 21, so tune in for that at 9 AM. Thanks guys.